Kojegamswa, Bonjour, Kwekwe, I, Tansi, hello, bonjour. I think I want to first say, Nanaskum daon jisagat, e mamu yem hidoik, e mamot kunmik iu yemon. I also want to thank everybody who's come on the stage this evening and performed. Before I begin, I'll let the teleprompter guy know. I just want to share a few words before. I also want to thank Claudette Commanda for leading us in this ceremonial opening, as well as our team here who is doing the sign language. There's 4 of them that are doing it. Thank you for the first time I ever see somebody signing my speech. Really appreciate that you're sharing language in that way. I also want to thank the drummers and the dancers. So I am saying that I want to thank the drummers and the dancers. I felt my legs as they danced. It was very, very interesting to watch. I want to begin this evening by giving thanks to the elders and everyone for taking part in this ceremony. And I also want to thank the host nations, Kirigan-Zibi, Shnabek, and the Algonquins of Pikwaganagan for welcoming us in their traditional unceded territory. I also want to give a warm welcome to all of you, leaders, speakers, storytellers, learners from across the world. Mamo Nano. Thank you for coming to Ottawa to share your wisdom and celebrate the beauty and diversity of Indigenous languages. Bienvenue à toutes. Merci d'être ici pour cette occasion historique en célébrer les langues autochtones. As a Cree speaker and an advocate for Indigenous languages, and now also a minister of Indigenous services, I am honored to join you for the first ever Global Indigenous Languages Summit hosted by the Office of the Commissioner of Indigenous Languages. I want to acknowledge the Commissioner's Office for its leadership in bringing us together at this historic event. The work that you are mandated to undertake is critical for our community's well-being and the revitalization of our languages. The creation of this office in 2019 was a groundbreaking step for the Indigenous Languages Act, a landmark piece of legislation co-developed with Indigenous peoples. The Act affirms the right to reclaim, revitalize, maintain, and strengthen Indigenous languages. It was a direct and urgent response to the risk of losing languages that carry our histories, our identities, and our ways of seeing the world. Today, the office stands as a pillar of advocacy and hope, championing Indigenous-led initiatives, raising public awareness, and guiding us towards a future where our languages are alive and thriving. Our languages, Diano, Diamon, shape us in who we are in profound ways. They are the heart of our culture, the foundation of our identity, and the keeper of our heritage. Mamods gui wizab tim nano, tizimugane make tanishnaksik ebumtadaik mation, nestke nyojgoyo et seitmik. They safeguard our ways of living and our ways of knowing. For me, speaking my own language is an act of wellness and healing. It lets me express myself with the precision in the way that I truly mean. The Cree way of thinking. When I served as the Deputy Chief of the Cree First Nation of Waswanipi, and then to my nation as the Deputy Grand Chief, and then the Grand Chief at the Grand Council of the Crees, these beliefs guided me in shaping the decisions that I made for our communities. I also want to share a personal story, the path of my own language. I was somebody who lost their Cree language in my childhood because we lived outside of the community when my mother had to come down south to attend school. I lost a lot of my language. I spent a lot of time in the summers speaking in Cree language with my grandfather, with my grandmother. with my family, but I think there was always a habit of responding to me in English, even though I tried to speak Cree. When I was elected to my community, I had the opportunity for the first time to really engage and immerse myself in Cree language. When I went on to the regional level of government, I was very pleased to participate in a government that hosted all of its meetings in Cree language. Sometimes there were challenges, there were words that I didn't understand, but I was very thankful to my colleagues who were able to teach me those words. I'm very thankful to my nation for gifting me, Min Bego, Jajikstayan, Inuyamon, to once again have my own Cree language back, and it is a gift that I left that office with, is now one that I share in this new space as a minister. In 2019, my own nation, Inuit, took a historic step in adopting the Cree Language Act. This law affirmed our right to live, work, be educated, and receive services in Cree. It integrates our language into our everyday life and governance and strengthens it through initiatives that maintain and restore fluency. The Act succeeded in its objective to preserve and promote the use of Cree. I want to thank those people that are here this evening from my territory that taught me and shared Cree language with me to ensure that I myself can be amongst the people who speaks Cree fluently. We are now in the third year of the Decade of the International Languages. This is an opportunity to share our culture with the world, celebrate our languages with pride. It's also a time to reflect on how we want to better preserve, protect, and promote critical Indigenous languages. There are more than 70 Indigenous languages spoken by First Nations, Inuit, and Métis in Canada. 3/4 are endangered. None are considered fully safe. We are in a critical moment that demands that we all act together. While Indigenous people lead the way, the Government of Canada has a responsibility to walk alongside you. It is my role as Minister to be part of that process. The solutions that live in our communities, in immersion programs, in language needs, in land-based learning, in the teachings of our elders and the voices of the children, mean that we are speaking those mother tongues with pride. I know that investments in language and culture strengthen communities and help build successful educational systems. Pour soutenir vos efforts, c'est important que le gouvernement et moi, comme ministre, doit être là pour investir dans les langues, la culture et la culture des peuples autochtones. Through regional education agreements, we work alongside First Nations to strengthen elementary and secondary education on reserve, providing long-term predictable funding and flexibility to design educational systems that reflect the nation's language, culture, and priorities. Introduced in 2019, these agreements are now part of a co-developed transformative approach to funding and policy that advances self-determination in education. 10 agreements have now been signed, real progress, but our journey is not over. The road ahead is filled with opportunities to build an even stronger future for our children. Indigenous Services also holds $1,500 per student per year to support language and cultural programming in on-reserve schools. Last year, 94% of students attending First Language schools learned at least one subject in a First Nations language. The First Nations and Inuit Cultural Education Center program is another example of government support that is making a difference. Built by and for communities, these centers are placing learning, teaching, and reconnecting together. They revive traditional skills and they help young children grow new languages. They celebrate Indigenous languages and they bring them into everyday life. In Inuit Nungat, Inuktitut dialects are at the very heart of Inuit identities, families, communities, and institutions. That's why we're able to provide long-term funding that protects Inuktitut across all regions of Inuit homeland. This work is done with Inuit every step of the way through co-developed policies like the Inuit Nunangat policy and programs that respect and draw upon Inuit knowledge. To address the crisis facing Indigenous languages, we need a whole-of-government approach, one that combines funding, research, education, and innovation. I want to acknowledge the vital work of Canadian Heritage, responsible for implementing the Indigenous Languages Act and the support of all other federal departments. Pour répondre à la crise qui mince les langues autochtones, on a besoin d'une approche pan-gouvernementale qui va financer de la recherche, de l'éducation et de l'innovation. Je tiens à souligner le travail important de patrimoine canadien du ministre Stephen Guilbeault pour mettre en œuvre la loi sur les langues autochtones. Under this act, the government is working hard with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis partners. We're introducing new funding models that provide long-term agreements, placing greater control over funding decisions in Indigenous hands, and respond more effectively to the distinct needs of each nation. The Inuit Languages and Culture Program is a great example. It funds community-driven activities from language instruction to the creation of resources and supports Indigenous governments, organizations, and communities' need into bringing Indigenous language into every part of daily life. Through this program also, this government is working alongside the Métis Nation, governments and organizations to help develop and deliver vibrant community-based Michif language programs and programs that keep the language alive and thriving for future generations. There is so much more to do. Together, we can reverse the decline in the number of Indigenous language speakers. We can restore languages to the heart of our homes, our schools, and our communities. Waves 2025 is more than an event. It is a momentum. It carries the strength of our generations. It lifts our voices and our cultures, and it brings Indigenous languages into the light. Over the next few days, I hope that you have a productive and enjoyable experience here and have the opportunity to engage in meaningful discussions, hopefully in your own languages as well. I want to take advantage of this celebration and this call to action. Je vous souhaite toutes et à tous un excellent sommet, des discussions éclairantes, j'espère, dans vos langues autochtones, ou Inuit, ou Métis. J'espère aussi que c'est la première d'un nombreux rendez-vous pour célébrer nos langues. Tsananaskumno mshega duksniak. Tsananaskumno edibedaya gumshe parpeg du diamono. Tsananaskumno et konmegne nkshchun. I want to thank the Commissioner's Office, the Commissioners, and the Directors for bringing us together in this historic event. And I especially want to thank you for being part of it. We look forward to walking this path together. Miigwech, Huinamik, Nakumik, Marcy, thank you.